Welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. This is Rav, your host. How is everyone today? I hope wherever you are in the world, you are well, and thank you for tuning in. I am recording this on Sunday afternoon, a glorious sunny day here in Melbourne, Australia. Overnight Australian time, we saw Arsenal comprehensively defeat Athletic Club 3-0 and in an excellent performance. A fantastic performance from start to finish, professional. It was just fluent, new players clicking together. It was just fantastic. I really enjoyed watching through this replay in full, and it's very encouraging, very promising. So we'll get stuck into a few things about that. Just firstly, if my voice is a little bit off, I apologize in advance. Just fighting just a little cold or flu, a couple of niggles the last few days that have hit the household. But so if I'm a bit stuffed up, that's why. My apologies. I'll power through anyway. So let's start with selection. And what's really interesting is that at the time of recording, this is the last pre-season match before the Premier League season kicks off at Old Trafford in 8 days' time. So selection, I was wondering, are we going to see essentially the 11 that Arteta has in mind to start at Old Trafford? And it was a very strong 11 put forward. I think in terms of the squad, I think it's just Trossard who is currently out in terms of injury. Over the last week or so, we've seen reintegration of Gabriel and Timber for their first preseason minutes, and they both started today, and they looked, I don't want to jinx anything, touch wood, they look fit, they look healthy. They probably played more minutes than what I anticipated. I thought Arteta might make a host of changes at halftime, as can quite often happen in these preseason friendlies. But no, they played a lot more than what I anticipated. And another big one is Calafiori. Calafiori's back and started and looked very good as well. Now that was I must admit, maybe I'm a bit too doom and gloom, but when he went down in Asia, just one of those classic off the ball, non-contact injuries, I was thinking, oh damn, this is going to be one of those 4 to 6 week type things with a muscle strain or something similar. But excellent to see him back as well. So unless I'm mistaken anyone else, I apologize if I have. I think it's just Trossard at the moment. The Arsenal squad is looking pretty fit and healthy at this point in time. And again, oh my God, have I jinxed it again? Because we all know what happens. We all know what can sometimes happen, especially off the back of last season with the cluster injuries we suffered. It was almost unprecedented. So as of right now, it's quite a strong squad to select from. And you know what? There are a number of players. Just going back to what I said about that starting 11, possibly for Old Trafford. A number of players are banging on that door and knocking on that door too. And this is just what we want. We want depth. We want quality across the board, from front to back. We want them making it as hard as possible for Arteta, because I'm sure you know what I'm referring to here. But so often we could just, without even really thinking too much, we could just name the players that are going to line up, especially over the last season or so. So it's excellent now that we've got the quality. And more importantly as well, we've actually got points of difference, which look, it's a good time for me to come to right now. The points of difference, Viktor Gyökeres, I was thoroughly impressed by. Like he's just got that, and this is not to denigrate Kai Havertz, of course, and I certainly don't wish to do that. However, there's something to be said about just a killer instinct for goal. And Gyokeres, he just looks like a pure natural striker, which is excellent. It's what Arsenal have needed. Take nothing away from Havertz, who I rate very highly. I know there's still some mixed feelings about him amongst the Arsenal fan base, which I don't particularly subscribe to. And Havertz looked fantastic when he came on in the second half. You know, he seems to have elevated his game as well, right? Knowing that everyone for the last few months has been talking about Arsenal signing the new striker. It's almost as if inside Havertz is saying, well, you know what? I'll show you what I've got. And his physique has changed. I don't know in terms of how much extra weight in terms of kilos he has put on, but physically he's much more imposing now. He's just a different beast. He hasn't lost his pace though. That goal that he scored, oh It was fantastic. It was the type of thing that I'm not. It's not something that we are synonymous for. Like just carving a team open in transition, moving it quickly, charging through. And Havertz, he showed strength, poise. He held the defender off and just slotted it home. Oh, it was just wonderful to see. Like this is excellent for Arsenal. This bodes very, very well. So in terms of selection, just going back to my comment about the starting 11, first start we have seen for that midfield combination of Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, and then ahead of them, Viktor Gyökeres. Now, this was very interesting. It was a type of thing that we haven't seen before as yet for a host of reasons. But from what I saw from the time that Gyokeres was on the pitch, I really liked this. And of course, supported by Bukayo and Martinelli on the flanks. I must say, Martinelli had a much more improved game. You know, he's in terms of players being aware, just like I referenced Havertz a moment ago, Martinelli would be aware. I mean, he absolutely knows what a sentiment is amongst the Arsenal fan base, that we need to upgrade on that left, that we're looking for that elite level type of player to complement Bukayo on the right, and to really lift out, to really level up across the forward line. So he's aware, and I said this on my last recording too. Like, he does so much of the discipline, the grunt work that Arteta wants him to. It's why he's so frequently picked. He's 100% a pure Arteta player, right? He loves the club and he will do whatever job you ask him to go out and do. However, he hasn't had the best of pre-seasons, has he? He's had moments, he's had glimpses, and unfortunately, he's also had some of those recurring themes that we've seen many times before in terms of his final product, his final ball. And he was much better today. Much better. Still a few moments where, you know, he could have maybe made the wrong decision, shot when he should have cut back or whatnot. But, you know, this is just the nature of the beast. That it's going to happen to any player. Speaking of which, it even happened to Saka when he did beautifully to get in behind the fullback, and there was a host of players waiting for the cutback, but Saka's shot instead straight at the keeper, who just hit him rather than being saved. And you know, it's just going to happen to all the players at the best of times. So I thought Martinelli was very, very good today, and replaced by Madueke on the left wing. Now this is really interesting too, because I spoke about this on my last recording as well, that I think there's a growing consensus. I think there's an understanding now that when you pay the fee that Arsenal did to acquire Madueke, it's not just that quote unquote Saka backup. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from a career path as well for Noni Madueke, right? He's an England international, he's quite young, has a tremendous future ahead of him, so it wouldn't make sense. So I think left wing, he's very much in the sights for that. And as I've said before, he's aware that that position is up for grabs, right? It's not nailed down that it's going to be Martinelli. It's not nailed down that it's going to be Trossard, who I know the rumours have sort of quietened a little bit, but not too long ago he has been linked with some interest elsewhere. So that remains to be seen. And of course, I know I'm digressing for a moment, but we know that Arsenal now are in a phase of, we need to finalise some outgoings. Of course, there are some very obvious ones: Karl Hein, Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson, for example. And if we're looking to add that additional forward or attacking option or left wing, I think it's very much contingent upon some sales now, some outgoings, which is just whether that means we miss out on Eze or not, it remains to be seen. But look, we'll just have to watch that one closely. I think Arsenal now are looking to finalise some deals, and hopefully we hear some traction in the coming days. But back to Madueke, I liked what I saw. He's got pace. He's got a when I spoke earlier about natural instincts in reference to Gyokeres, Noni Madueke, he gets the ball and he's just got one thing on his mind as well. He wants to beat his fullback. He wants to advance forward, and I really, really like this. Just generally across the board, and perhaps remiss of me not to even mention Martín Zubimendi yet. He was fantastic. He voted the player of the match, and I certainly agree with that consensus. He was excellent. He was excellent. Ticked it over really, really nicely, and just throughout the game, what I just noticed was just a level of fluency with Arsenal. Like we moved with intent, we moved with speed, and we transitioned really well. With absolute respect to Athletic Club, who we know are not sort of comparable to the top teams in the Premier League, but you can only play against who you play against, right? So in terms of that, we were just comprehensive. We were on a different level, and it was great to keep the clean sheet as well, and not have just some of those silly out of nowhere mistakes and out of nowhere goals that we've otherwise suffered across the preseason. I think this is just what we needed. A game like this, a comprehensive victory, a number of beautiful goals, like all three goals in their own way were just excellently taken, and just a nice feel-good moment, and just a nice energy and momentum heading into this final week before the Premier League kicks off again. So speaking of the goals, Viktor Gyökeres, that was a sensational header, and the pass too. The pass from Zubimendi, who was in quite an advanced position at that point as well. Beautiful cross swinging in from the right pinpoint. And Gyokeres has just thumped it home. It was just fantastic. This is what can happen. It can just happen in a moment. It can happen in a blink of an eye. And when you see it unfold in front of you, it's just a thing of beauty. It makes football look so simple. Right. How many times have we seen Arsenal in similar positions, but we sort of tap sideways, we tap forward, we come back, and we're too slow, and so often we're double and triple teamed, except especially on that right hand side where Saka is, and we miss those opportunities, we miss the moment. But that was a great ball from Zubimendi and beautifully tucked in and finished by Viktor Gyökeres. So I know it doesn't count as an official goal; it's pre-season, of course. However, great for him just to have that first goal under his belt, and just a real energy and buzz around the Emirates whenever he got going and whether he got on the ball, and he just looks built. He's physically imposing as well, just broad shoulders, like just looks powerful. Really, really encouraging seeing what he displayed here at the Emirates. It was just it was excellent, and just I've got good vibes, good feelings about this signing, and it's hopefully that momentum builds. So back to Zubimendi, who I thought was instrumental in so much of what we did well. He and Rice, at times, look, I know Arteta doesn't like just sort of what's the word here? He doesn't like limiting himself to like one formation. Where he talks quite purposefully around that. He says we don't play a 4-3-3. We are fluid, and things change and evolve over time. So it was interesting to see that. To me, it looked like for large periods of the match that Rice and Zubimendi were in a double pivot, or even interchanging with each other. One would go forward, one would go behind, one would move to the left, and one would move to the right spaces. Are really interesting. I think it allowed Odegaard a bit more freedom as well ahead of him. He could dovetail across both sides rather than just being too much in that sort of that internal right hand channel or corridor. So again, that's a tactical evolution that a signing such as Zubimendi will give us. He's got leg speed as well to get back and nip the ball off, and straight away he's looking to advance as well. Straight away, there's a couple of moments where he just plays it forward, and it was. Pardon me. And it was just lovely to see. So soon after Gyokeres' opener, we pounced again. I think it was just a minute. It was at 34 minutes Gyokeres was registered at, and let me just check. Saka's goal, 36 minutes. So effectively just after the restart, and we pounced again. Martinelli bursting through on speed. It doesn't look great for the goalkeeper, does it? He's just one of those classic moments where he has to decide in a split second, does he come forward, does he come back, does he commit or not? And thankfully we had the pace and the desire to take advantage. Martinelli just tapped it on to his right, and Saka did the rest. So 2-0 in a blink of an eye. It was great because we also know one of the things that plagued Arsenal last season, especially reflected in 21 points dropped from winning positions, is that the need to capitalize, the need to convert dominance into goals, into genuine open play chances and converting them into goals. That's something that we really, if we want to achieve what what we all hope we achieve, what we want to achieve this year, that we're going to need to do that. Like when you're on top, kill them off. As much as you can, get that second goal, get that third goal. And it was just very, very pleasing to see Arsenal do that so quickly here. And a host of changes were made in that second half, of course. Christian Mosquera, who I think is just very quietly having a very, very good integration into Arsenal's 11. He's looking excellent. It's gone a little bit under the radar, which of course can happen. He's a defender. He's a centre back. Just coming in on the second half so far to relieve some of the starters. But from what I see so far, again, I know I've used the reference physically imposing a number of times this recording, but it's all valid. It's all apt. He just looks built. He just looks strong, tall, muscular, and he just looks like he belongs. And again, I know it's just preseason, of course, and it's hard to really sort of gauge or just get too carried away from here. However, I think this is a very, very smart signing. So it was excellent that Gabriel had that volume of minutes. We've now got, just across that back line, just looking at it on paper, in terms of left back, we've got two genuine options there, Calafiori and Lewis Skelly. At left centre half, of course, we have Gabriel and Kiwior, who didn't feature today, but he's featured a lot lately, and I know that he's ready and available. Then Saliba, supported by Mosquera. And then at right back, of course, White and Timber. And Timber as well, spent some time at left back as well. Like it's just great. We've got some moving pieces. We've got some flexibility in there, and we've got depth, because too often, again, without stating the obvious, we all know the reasons why, but too often our players they're just ground into the dust, unfortunately, and fatigue. It can do a number of things to concentration, to injuries, and it's just excellent. We've got the ability to refresh and protect players. That's the other thing. We need to protect them. We need to protect Bukayo, Havertz and Gabriel, three very significant injuries that happened last year that basically derailed our season. We need to protect these players, because again, what we want to achieve this season very much hinges on these types of decisions and utilizing our players accordingly. So I can just hear my voice starting to go a little bit. If you've made it this far, thank you so much, and for putting up with me. So just a couple of other quick points before I finish up. I'll wrap this one up. Overall, very encouraging display, very, very pleasing. I think it's just what Arsenal needed. We just needed that sense of confidence and belief that we can now enter this season with some genuine momentum. So, of course, it was always going to be inevitable that whatever Leipzig wanted for Šeško, that United would pay it, because that's what they usually do, right? So, the Šeško versus Gyokeres narrative heading into that Old Trafford game, it's going to be on overdrive, isn't it? But I think Arsenal should be very, very pleased with our decision. Looking at the financial financial information that's been reported on that Šeško deal, it's just extravagant. I feel he might hit those heights, he might hit those sort of levels in the coming years, and best of luck to him, of course. However, right here, right now, it's just not a transaction that I can see why Arsenal were not comfortable participating in that, especially with a sell-on clause as well, and just that fixed fee as well. It's just, it seems excessive. But then again, like I've said before, this is the market. You look at the price Liverpool have spent on Ekitike. These are ready. These are the prices that reflect ready-made world-class strikers ready to come in and hit the ground running. These are not potential prices. These are like, okay, this is the finished article, the real deal right now, and those are the prices that are slapped on to acquire these players. So I think overall, Arsenal should be pretty pleased with how we've negotiated and acquired players this season. And look, I don't think we are done, and I certainly would feel a lot better knowing that there's that extra attacking option, such as Eze or someone in that ilk or someone in that caliber. But look, right now it's just very difficult to sort of gauge, are we going to be able to do that or not without finalising some outgoings, because that's one area of the of the balance sheet where we know that we really struggled. And when you see the levels that Chelsea and Liverpool and these sort of clubs can spend on signings, that makes all the difference, because we don't have the sales to offset our spending. It's just something that's just, for a host of reasons, Arsenal have struggled with. So let's see how Andrea Berta goes in the next few days, the next couple of weeks. So on that note, I think I will close this one off. Thank you again for putting up with me and putting up with my voice. I'll be back on again soon to record more, so please keep an eye out for that. Until then, if you could please consider liking and subscribing if you're listening on YouTube or on your podcast platform of choice. A 5-star review would be most welcome, would be most appreciated, please. It really does help boost engagement and visibility on the recordings. And please do let me know any questions or comments or any feedback you have. I read every word, and I'll be happy to cover any listener questions. Until then, thank you so much again. Thanks for tuning in and for your support. Look after yourselves, and come on, Arsenal.